No sign of him yet?
No.
Nick, what makes you so sure it's Browse we're after?
One of the newest hands at the ranch is why.
That's no reason, though.
Well, he told me himself he used to hang around Cherokee Strip.
Well, so did I once. That don't make a man a thief.
Well, I got it all figured out. Scientifically, right from this book.
Isn't that one of the books Jared brought home?
That's right. And this Winfield, he's got it all figured out. Says you can spot a criminal by his face. His ears, for example.
By his what?
His ears. Now, the way I make it out is that you draw a line straight back from a man's eye. And if his ear falls below that line, he's a criminal.
That's all?
That's it. So, we started missing things around the ranch, and, well, I started taking a closer look at all the hands.
And you came up with Bill Browse?
He's got the lowest ears. Quiet. Shh. Well, we'll see who laughs now. It's Bill Briles.
Gotcha. What? Heath, what'd I tell you? What? What's wrong? Look at that.
Low ears.
Browse, what are you doing out here?
What do you mean, what am I doing out here?
Just answer the question.
Now, look, I didn't do nothing wrong.
What's going on here?
We just caught ourselves a thief.
Nick, Briles and I rode out here together looking for you.
He could still be the thief.
Nick, not 20 minutes ago, somebody broke into the tack room and stole 4 of our best saddles. That's what we rode out here to tell you.
Well, now, how do you know it wasn't him?
Because he was standing right beside me when it happened.
Oh.
Nick, why don't you let the sheriff handle these things?
Do that, will you, Nick?
Maybe you got it wrong, Nick. Maybe we're supposed to be on the lookout for people with high ears.
Chapter 4, Suspects. Find out.
Go to the office first, sign a couple of papers.
And I'll wait inside.
Nick, you'd have just about enough time to go see the sheriff.
Oh, I'll get around to that. Oh, by the way, here's something you can have.
Winfield, huh? So that's what that ear business was all about.
A lot he knows.
Well, if you had asked, Nick, before you ran off playing detective, I could have told you there's no proof his system works.
I got proof it don't.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, mate. Oh, what's all the excitement? Beer. No, whiskey. Whiskey.
You catch your thief?
Just pour the whiskey.
You didn't catch him.
Anyone ask you?
I never knew you detective fellows were so temperamental.
Maggie, I remember the good old days when bartenders used to mind their own business.
I remember the good old days, too. You know, there hasn't been a big spender in here since the 4th of July.
Well, here's the big spender. Right.
The town's full of drovers now, and they don't get paid until all cattle are sold. Well, nothing to do but wait.
Well, your waiting's through, lady. Here, play some. You, dance?
Why not? I think we better sit this one out.
I just saw you want a little excitement, honey.
Watch it, Sonny. Say, how old are you, anyhow?
Old enough, sister. Hey, there's enough here to set him up for everybody.
Wait a minute, boy. Put that money back in your pocket.
Hey, why don't you stick your nose back into your own business, mister? What's the matter? Didn't you hear me?
You put that bottle back up here on this bar. Right now.
Listen, don't worry about it, mister. There's enough here to buy this whole stinking place.
I don't care how much is there. I don't sell to kids. Now, give me that bottle. Here. Now, you don't want to shoot the best bartender in Stockton, do you? I told you to cut it out. Now, hold it.
Well, bunch of real sports, huh? What's your name, mister?
Who, me? Nick. Nick Barkley. Oh, what's yours?
Danny. Just Danny. And you'll want to remember that, Barkley.
Oh, Danny, I sure will remember it. Here, you take this gun, put it back in your holster, and leave it there. Now, you better get on home before your folks start wondering where you are.
Who's the desperado?
You were lucky you weren't gunned down. Harry, give my brother here something for his nerves, will you?
You know, I think I've seen that kid somewhere before.
That kid's hard to overlook. Give me one, too, will you, Harry?
What was going on?
Well, first of all, he came in here, he's going to buy the place a drink. Then he's going to buy the place. Then he's going to shoot Harry.
Sheriff catches him running around with that gun on, he's going to be in a mess of trouble.
Oh, he and trouble aren't too much strangers, I'm afraid.
You know, Nick, he reminds me of somebody I used to know.
Yeah, who?
You, when you were about that age.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, sir. I can remember you getting bailed out of quite a few scrapes when you were no older than he is.
Two of a kind, huh?
Wiggins.
Wiggins who?
Well, that's what that boy's name is, Daniel Wiggins. I can remember I did some legal work for his parents when they moved here about a year ago.
What kind of parents let a boy out like that?
They probably don't know who he is. I think it was a doctor, Mrs. Wiggins. I made some kind of a financial arrangement to keep him in school up in San Francisco. They live out on the north side of town, just beyond the stage stop.
That boy doesn't straighten out. He's never going to see the best side of 16.
Oh, he'll probably grow out of it, grow up to be mayor.
Mm-hmm, probably.
Nick, speaking of city officials, when are you going to go see the sheriff?
I was going to go over there,
Well, of course, now, if you're a little too embarrassed to let him know that you've been doing detective work on your own, I'll be very...
I'm going. And Harry, he's buying.
Yes?
Oh, howdy. You Mrs. Ray Wiggins?
Yes, what is it?
Well, my name's Nick Barkley. And, well, I know it's none of my business, but it's about your son, Danny.
What on earth are you talking about?
Well, he seems to be making quite a show of himself around town, and I thought maybe you and the good doctor should know about it before he gets into trouble.
Mr. Barkley, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a son.
Well, but you just said that,
I believe my wife was quite explicit, sir. We do not have a son. Now, good day, sir.
Jared. Heath around?
No.
Oh.
Well, what'd he say?
Who?
Who? The sheriff.
Oh, the sheriff. Well, I got so busy in town that, well,
Nick?
Jared, you said that Dr. and Mrs. Wiggins live out by the old stage stop, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I went out to see them. You know what they told me?
No, I don't know what they told you.
They didn't even have a son.
Well, they do.
Well, now, why would they say such a thing, then?
I don't know, but what I am interested in is what the sheriff intends to do about our 2 missing horses and 5 of our best saddles.
Will you stop pushing? I intend telling him.
When?
Nick, are you gonna help me move that herd south or not?
Heath, you're the one I've been waiting for. Come on, let's go. Nick! You coming? Where have you been?
Oh, but out there in the barn getting the gear ready.
In the barn? Ain't no work in the barn. The work's out where I am.
You sure get in a hurry.
Hey! My saddle. It's gone.
Brushed out again?
Yeah, this thief must be half Indian.
He sure knows how to cover tracks.
It's got that saddle broke in good, too. Looks like I'm gonna have to break in another one. Hold it. I think it's best I went see the sheriff. Come on, Coco. Get up, yeah. Yeah.
4 days. You finally get around to telling me about it.
There were reasons, Fred.
Yeah, sure. This all you're missing?
Up till now, I haven't checked in the past 10 minutes.
Get in line and take your turn.
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
Well, it means this, Nick. For the last 2 weeks, there's been a rash of thievery. Every outlying ranch for 15 miles has been hit.
You think it's a gang or something?
I don't know. Well, there have been some drovers in town, but I haven't made up my mind yet.
No clues, nothing?
Nothing. Nobody's heard anything. Nobody's seen anything. I circled every ranch looking for tracks. The few tracks I've found just petered out before they led anywhere.
Heath and I had the same kind of luck.
Nick, I'll do the best I can.
Thank you, Fred. I'll see you later.
Boy, I want words with you. I said I wanted words with you, boy.
Well, I don't want none with you.
Don't you get smart with me.
Just stay away from me.
Why'd you come back here?
Well, I'll tell you. I knew you'd be worried about me. Daddy. You touch me one more time and I'll blow your head off.
Murderous little savage. Get out of this town before something happens. Go away, for your mother's sake.
What are you whispering about, huh? You afraid somebody's gonna hear? She's my mother! She's my...
Danny! It's Nick Barkley. I want to talk to you.
Well, I should have figured.
Why did you follow me, Barkley?
You set that trap for me out there.
Uh-huh. Sioux deer trap. You walked right into it. Visitors not welcome. You sure were hanging high and loose out there.
Trap a man like you trap a wild animal. That's very funny. This whole roof would come down on top of you. You know that.
Oh, just so you know.
You steal all this stuff, did you?
Uh-huh.
What are you, 14 years old?
You recognize this, Barkley?
It's my saddle.
I told you in the saloon you'd have reason to remember me.
I sure can pick the ones to help out, can't I?
I don't need any help.
You sure did when you got into it with your old man in the middle of that street.
If you'd left us alone, I'd have killed him.
Your own father.
He's not my father. Now shut up about it.
Now that you got me here, what do you plan on doing with me?
I ain't decided.
Well, now, sooner or later, you're gonna have to turn me loose.
You sure about that? Now, let's see. What do you want for supper? Canned beef? Truffles? Caviar?
Caviar?
Well, it's a little too fancy for a Barkley, isn't it? All right, we'll just have beans.
Do you know where you are?
Sure. Worked out mine.
Not worked out. Abandoned.
What's the difference?
There's a big difference. This is the old Ophir mine. 16 men were buried alive here. That's why they closed it up. This whole mountain's faulted and shifting.
Well, then nobody will come nosing around, will they? You know, you never did answer about why you followed me.
What difference does that make? Let's get back to this little business of yours, shall we? How to get rid of all this stuff?
Well, you see, I sell this junk cheap to storekeepers. They don't ask questions as long as they make a neat profit. We're all thieves together.
Is that what you plan to be when you grow up? A thief?
I just practice what the good book says. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. I've had mighty good teachers.
You seen Nick?
I figure you left early.
His bed wasn't slept in last night.
Maybe you met a pretty girl in town last night.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we better take a little look around for him. If he shows up grinning, full of some wild story, you can help me break his foolish neck.
Keep shaking there, you won't have to worry about ever getting loose. Well, I got it figured out now what I'm gonna do with you.
I'm afraid I'm not going to bring very much from your business partners.
No, probably not. But how much you figure you're worth to your family?
What are you getting at?
Well, I figure I'll ransom you.
I'm afraid I'm not going to bring much there either.
Well, I'm not greedy. Now, let's see. I need enough to get me set up in style somewhere else, but not so much that they're gonna have trouble getting it in cash.
Danny, you know what you're talking about. You're talking about kidnapping. Now, there's a big difference in that and stealing things to trade for food to eat.
You think that sheriff's gonna see the difference?
There's a big difference. They catch up with you on something like this, well, I can't help you.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's what you followed me out here to do, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just untie those ropes and you'll make everything all right.
I could try, Danny. Danny, I could try. I could say I got thrown off my horse and you found me and helped me out, and that's all that happened. They'll believe me.
$5,000. That's what they're gonna believe, Barkley. $5,000. Now, let's see here. To the Barkleys. If you want Nick back alive, get $5,000 in cash. Have Mrs. Barkley deliver to Indian Springs at noon today. I'll be watching. No trick. Or no Nick. There, that ought to do it.
Yeah, that ought to do it. First step to you being hanged.
Catching a Sioux ain't that easy.
You're no Sioux.
That's where you're wrong. Danny Running Dog, that's me.
Danny Wiggins.
Wiggins.
Yeah.
That's his name, not mine. He's her husband, that's all he is.
Who's your father?
Maybe these looks of mine got you fooled. My father was an Indian.
Running Dog.
Was his name. He took my mother from a wagon train. Later, they rescued her. When I was born, she wouldn't even look at me.
So they sent you away?
Yeah, but I kept running off to go back to her. She hated me. I never could understand why. And then he told me. Told me who I really was. $5,000, Barkley. That's all I'm gonna think about now.
Heath, it's Nick's horse. I'd say we don't have much choice. Get the sheriff.
No.
You don't think you're going out there alone?
Yes, I am, just as soon as you bring me the money from the bank.
Now, look, we don't know who we're dealing with
We are
here.
dealing with Nick's life.
I'm aware of that, Mother, but we're not going to save his life by doing what that note says.
The note says if you want Nick back alive. Now, that seems plain enough.
No, it isn't plain enough. Believe me, I know something about the pattern of kidnappers. They're scared. Once they get the money, they usually kill their victims so they can't identify them.
Nick is safe as long as he's of value. After that, there's no telling.
Well, last year, when they kidnapped the Tompkins boy, they let him go.
They probably felt sorry for him. But it's more likely they knew he was too young to identify them.
We could hide out early near Indian Springs. Catch him as he picks up the money.
And if you don't, if something goes wrong? I don't want to do anything that will jeopardize any chance Nick might have.
All right. We'll get the money.
Jared, Heath. Get the sheriff.
You still worried about your neck?
Both our necks.
Well, they have that note by now. Next thing, they'll hightail it into town and get that money out of the bank. You know, you ain't near as talkative as you were.
I was just thinking about how much alike you and I are. No, I'm serious. I remember when I was about your age, my father gave me a horse. And he told me the day I learned to ride that horse, I'd become a man.
Yeah, and I suppose you went right out and rode him, huh?
No, that old horse threw me farther than most crows fly. It's quite a horse, though. remember, I used to go into the barn at night to sleep just to be near him.
You know that I'm not interested in your horse or your story.
Oh, I love that animal. But he didn't love me too much, though. One time I went in to curry and groom him. He liked to kill me. Something about that horse, he just hated the sight of me. So I decided that I'd hate him just as much as he hated me. I took my rifle, and I went into the barn, and I aimed that old rifle right between his eyes. I couldn't pull the trigger.
Why not?
Because I found I still loved him. And all of a sudden, I understood there was nothing I could do about the way he felt about me. So I knew what I had to do. I had to walk away from him. I had to forget him. I had to start thinking of something else, something bigger, something more important to do with my life. I had to go on living, Danny. For myself.
I'd have pulled the trigger.
Planning to shoot my mother, are you?
No, it's your brothers I'll be looking out for.
Danny, supposing all this goes according to your plan, you get the money, then what?
Hold up here till dark and get as far away as I can before morning.
What about me?
First town I go through, I'll drop a note to your folks, tell them where to find you.
Danny, hold up a minute. Wait a minute. Look, it's not too late, you know. You can call this whole thing off. I know nothing about the law, but my brother's a lawyer. He does. And, well, maybe between he and myself, well, we can straighten this thing out for you. Leastwise, we'll stick with you.
I can't. I haven't got any choice now. Can't you understand that?
Take cover in these rocks here.
I'll take care of the horses.
We got 2 hours. Wish I could tell you it was going to seem shorter.
Just as long as he shows up.
What are you doing here?
Just hunting rabbits, sir.
Well, hunt them someplace else.
Sure, Sheriff, but what's happening? What's going on?
Never mind. Get back there and stay out of sight.
Yes, sir.
Look!
Let's get the horses.
Our horses, they're gone.
$5,000.
Maybe you can use that to buy over your mother. There's $1,000 to make her admit you exist.
Shut up!
And another $1,000 to make her look at you.
I'm warning you.
And you can always use the rest of it to make her love you.
I said shut up!
Well, that's the end of the tracks.
Well, at least we know he was in this area. Fan out, keep your eyes open.
Danny! Danny, you all right? Can you move? Can you move your legs?
I guess we're in somewhat of a mess, huh?
Yeah, you could say that.
You know, there's no reason for you to believe me now. But I was gonna leave a knife where you could get to it. With a little work.
Why, Danny?
I don't know for sure. But it doesn't matter now.
It matters, Danny. It matters. We're both gonna get out of here together.
It's too late, Nick.
No, Danny. It's not too late. It's never too late.
Danny, the cleaver. The cleaver over there, can you reach it? It's right next to your right arm. Try to reach it. Reach out for it. That's it. Come on, Danny. Try. Come on, boy. Danny, your gun. Can you reach your gun? Can you get to it? It'll give you more reach. Throw it over here.
Now get out of here!
Come on, Danny, we're going out of here together. Look, Danny, I can't promise you that your mother will ever change, but I'll help you, Danny. Our whole family will.
No. Now you try and move me, and the rest of that ceiling's gonna come down.
Danny, we're going out of here together. Besides, Black Irishman and a half Indian. That's a team that's pretty hard to beat. What do you say? Come on.
Come on, boy. Let's go. Come on, let's get out of here. Come on.
Danny, remember, together. Huh?
Still couldn't find him?
No, we looked everywhere.
Including the saloon.
I thought he liked it here.
He did.
Maybe he was just putting on an act.
Oh, I don't believe that.
Neither do I. You wouldn't run out on me.
Well, and I feel, Nick, that he wouldn't be the first backslider we've run into.
Still think something's happened to him.
Why don't we give the back range one more circle?
All right. Well, what happened to you?
Miss Barkley, I know it cost plenty squaring all the things I took, so I dug this up for you.
You mean to tell me you went back into that mine after I gave you orders not to, knowing full well that a good sneeze and the whole thing had come down on top of you? Don't you listen to anybody?
Only when they're right.
Ah, come on, get cleaned up, boy. Come on, move.
Senator Bennett, I'm from the Stockton Eagle. Sure didn't expect to see you driving this stage.
Well, I had no choice, honey.
Something happened to the driver?
Yeah, a couple of fellas held us up 4 or 5 miles out of town, you know. They nicked the driver here in the shoulder. A couple of you boys get a hand. Get them out of here. Come on, Archie. All right, boy.
Did you recognize them?
Didn't have time to recognize them. Just shot them. All right, get the man over to the doctor now.
Well, a term in Congress doesn't seem to have spoiled your aim, Senator.
Why should it? We're always taking pot shots at one another in the Senate chamber, huh? Well, I certainly didn't expect anything like this. A warm welcome homecoming. I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Thank you, one and all. Stockton Eagle, eh?
Well, Senator.
Well, now. I hardly expected a welcome from the opposition.
I'm not extending one, I assure you. I live here at the hotel.
I thought maybe you'd come to bury the hatchet, Your Honor.
My party's never going to make peace with gunslinger politics, Bennett. No matter how colorful they may seem.
Sometimes I get the feeling that Judge Daggett doesn't approve of me.
How about a statement, Senator?
Why, just one second. I'd be glad to oblige you, young man. Now, here. I don't make no bones about it. I've come back to run for re-election. I want the job, I can do the job, and I'm the best doggone man in the world for the job.
I'll second that.
Victoria
Jim.
Barkley, you are a sight for hungry
I
eyes.
heard you were coming to Stockton. Is Amelia with you?
No, she's still in Washington.
Oh.
We thought the trip might be a little too much for her. What are you doing here? I thought you'd be at the ranch.
Oh, we're having the house renovated, and I'm staying here till it's finished.
Family with you?
I'm beginning to wonder if I have a family this week. Nick and Heath are out on the range, Jared's staying in the bunkhouse, and Audrey's in New York.
Little Aunt in New York? We do have a lot of catching up to do.
Almost 6 years.
Say, what about tonight, dinner, huh? Just the two of us, we can fill in all the gaps.
It sounds wonderful.
About 7 o'clock in the dining room.
Fine.
Victoria? Are you still found a pheasant and a chilled bottle of Chablis?
Mm-hmm. And our Chablis was particularly good this past year.
It's a shame we can't arrange with a hotel to furnish us with a gypsy orchestra.
Your company is enough, Jim. See you.
Stockton Eagle, huh?
That's right, Senator.
Thank you. Oh, be sure and spell the name right.
I knew Ben had once courted Victoria Barkley before he got married. I never realized their relationship was so close.
Thank you. No, Victoria, during the time I was in Washington, I think the most difficulty I had was trying to learn two things. First, how to control my temper, and secondly, how to balance one of those silly little teacups on my knee.
Well, apparently you managed both very well. I didn't hear of a single incident while you were in Washington.
No, otherwise there wouldn't have been an opposition senator or a teacup left in one piece. You know, you're absolutely right, Victoria. This Chablis is excellent.
We had a lot of rain last year, and that makes a great difference.
Well, it bears out what I've always said. You know, given proper irrigation, there isn't anything you couldn't raise in California. Why, it could be the greatest, the richest agricultural center in the world.
Well, I imagine we'll come to that someday.
If only we could convince people like William Daggett that the most important problem is water. What we need is an aqueduct, a canal system of some kind, you know? No, all they can think about is how much money it's going to cost, not how much money it will eventually earn for the state. You know, they're blind. They have no foresight. They're just not in touch with destiny.
You really believe in this state, don't you?
Yes, I do, Victoria. Yeah, I was raised in the Sierras, you know, brought up, schooled in a gold mining town. I guess I'm just part of the dust and the dream.
I suppose we all are. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. And so, to destiny. Oh, I've missed you and Amelia these past years. I wish you were here.
So do I, Victoria, but our doctor advised against me.
Are you blind? Huh? Why don't you watch where you're going?
Oh, it's all right,
The
Jim.
clumsy boy.
Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I want to make it up to the little lady.
Take your hands off.
Come on, little lady. I won't buy you.
Take your hands off her. Drunken fool.
Jim,
What's
Jim,
the matter with you?
no.
You all right?
I had that coming. Sorry, ma'am.
Guess I haven't learned to control my temper as well as I thought. I'm sorry, Victoria.
Barkley.
Who is it?
Message from Senator Bannard.
Just a minute.
He's in room 20, ma'am.
Jim.
Huh?
Victoria.
Oh. Yeah, I'll be right there. Good night.
What is it? What happened?
Happened nothing. What do you mean?
But this note, it said to come here right away.
Well, I didn't write you any notes.
Well, I don't understand.
No, neither do I. What is this? Who brought you this?
Well, one of the clerks, I guess. I don't know. I was half awake. I merely glanced at him.
I don't like the looks of this. We better get you back to your room.
Hold it, Senator!
I figured Daggett was desperate, but I didn't think he'd be this desperate.
Judge Daggett? Oh, no. I've known him for years. I don't agree with him politically any more than you do, but this...
I'm afraid you've got a lot to learn about politics, Victoria. His only chance of winning this election is to discredit me. Yeah, it looks like the honorable judge has embarked on a smear campaign.
Well, what are you going to do?
Victoria, this is going to be bad enough for me, but I'm not going to let him drag you into it, and the sooner he knows that, the better.
But you haven't any proof. If you start trouble...
I didn't start the trouble. He did.
All right. At least talk to Jared first. Find out where you stand legally. But this may not even be politics. Now, there are some people in this valley that don't particularly care for the Barkleys. It could be aimed at me.
All right. Jared at the ranch?
We'll be there in an hour.
Yeah, he had everything all set up in advance. The camera, ladder at the window, the rig waiting outside the hotel. All he had to do was snap the picture and run.
Did you get a look at him?
Well, no, the flash kind of blinded our eyes for a minute, Jared, you know, and it all happened so fast.
And you're sure there were no witnesses?
It was 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, how about outside? Could anyone have seen him use the ladder?
No, not even the town drunk was up that late. Oh, it was a mighty clever frame, all right. A married United States senator traveling alone meets up with a beautiful widow that he once courted. Well, it fits just as neat as a hook in a boot, hmm?
It fits, all right.
You know what bothers me the most, Jared, is what this scandal could do to your mother's reputation. Just smear it right...
Oh, hang my reputation. I've been gossiped about before.
But not like this, Victoria. They'll drag your name through the mud in every barber shop, pool hall, saloon. Everybody from preachers to drunks will be talking about you.
My name has probably been mentioned in worse places than saloons.
Oh.
But the important thing is, how will all this talk affect your chances for re-election?
Badly, I'm afraid. If we can do what it did to Andrew Jackson, think what it'll do to Jim.
Yes, the political consequences are going to be bad enough, and well, then there's Amelia.
Amelia?
Sure. The newspapers will blow this up out of all proportion. When she sees that picture in the paper...
Oh, surely she won't believe anything like this.
You're a beautiful woman, Victoria. And Amelia's known all along that I've been very fond of you. It could worry her, and with her heart as bad as it is.
Now, wait a minute, Jim. I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's deal with what has happened, not what might.
Uh-huh.
Now, first of all, I think you should stay here tonight.
Here?
Right here. The work on the house is almost finished, and you planned to be back here tomorrow anyway, didn't you?
I can't stay here, Jared, especially after what's happened. Well, people will be gossiping even more than they are now.
That's exactly the point, Jim. You've always stayed here, and if you don't stay here now, it's going to make people wonder what you are hiding.
Jared is right. Now, think about it, Jim. Think about it. If you do leave here now, what do we do? Just stop talking to each other and ignore each other when we meet?
I just don't like to be hamstrung. Now, I'm going to find Daggett, and I'm going to stop this thing before it even starts.
If you do that, Jim, without proof, Daggett won't need those pictures. He'll sue you for slander.
I guess maybe you're right. All right. I'll stay here. Because if I go back to that hotel, I'd probably run into him, and you know me and my short fuse.
Exactly. So you just sit tight. I'll check around town tomorrow. I've got some pretty good informants. One of them might know something.
Fine. Thanks, Jared. Just try to remember, waiting has never been one of my strong points.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm holding here in my hand, weighs less than half an ounce. By measurement, no more than 1.5 inches across. Small. But nobody can tell me how hard a man has to work to earn one of these. Because, you see, my family were farmers. And at a very early age, believe me, I learned what it took to put $1 away in my jeans. I'll tell you something, I haven't forgotten that. I'm not ashamed to say that I value money. And I can't spend $1, mine or yours, without first knowing where that dollar is going and whether I'm going to get a full dollar's value in return. And I'm distressed, my friends. I am appalled by some of the men in our government who squander our taxes as if it were so much corn seed, who instead of being the guardians of our money, are ready to pour it out in all kinds of wild, fanciful schemes. Now, you take my opponent, Senator Bannon, for example. Now, this man argues that building aqueducts is progressive, is far-seeing. There's no such thing, my friends. It is as reckless an idea as I've ever heard. and in the end could bankrupt this whole state. Now, that's not a far-seeing idea, is it? Senator Bannon is no visionary. I'll tell you what he is. Senator Bannon is a man of incredible impulse. We all know of his record of impulsive acts, the gun duels or fist fights. Only the other night at the hotel, he almost battered a man senseless. Now, some of you may admire behavior like that, but I want to tell you that rashness has no place in the Senate of the United States. We don't want a hair-trigger temper in our representatives, my friends. We want stability. We don't want scandal. We want dignity. We want sanity. And if you agree with me, and you know how to mark your ballot, defeat this man, my friends. Show him the only trigger we respect is the vote.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Jared.
Hello, Will. Oh, thanks, Sam. Give my best to your wife.
Haven't seen you in quite a while.
How have you been?
Busy, especially with the elections and all.
I can imagine.
I don't suppose I can count on Barkley's support.
Afraid not, Will. Politically, we're still on opposite sides of the fence.
Well, that's what makes horse races and elections.
I guess so.
Oh, I didn't see Bannard at breakfast this morning. I understand he cut quite a figure in the dining room last night. How was he?
When I see him, I'll ask.
Sombrero.
Come on, Sombrero. I knew you'd remember me. Look what I got for you. I remember me, old Jimbo. Sure enough, your old trail buddy, you do. Huh? Well, I thought sure enough you would. How you been? Huh? You looking good. How are you? It sure is mighty good to see you again.
He's been waiting for you, Jim. Hasn't answered a whistle and, well, ever since you left.
Hey, that's it, huh? I sure gonna hate to leave him, you know. We sheriffed a lot of trails together, me and Sombrero. But then, if I shouldn't win the election, I wouldn't have to leave him. That'd be kind of a bright spot, wouldn't it?
Well, I see Sombrero still remembers you.
I sure did. Great old boy, ain't he, huh? Just as sleek and sassy as ever. I bet you he can still outrun anything in sight.
Well, now, I don't ever remember him outrunning Misty Girl.
Well, he never really tried, you know. He didn't want to discourage her.
That has all the earmarks of a challenge.
It is.
You got a race. Length of the pasture and back?
All right. He's getting my saddle out of the barn. Oh, do you think Misty Girl will be able to make it to the end of the pasture and back?
Oh, let's go. Did you find out anything?
I've only had one day.
No luck then, Jared, huh?
Not yet, Jim. I checked the hotel. The room next to yours wasn't rented.
Well, then he must have had a pass key. And what about the valise and that camera tripod? What did the desk clerk say about that?
There wasn't any. The room was undisturbed. I checked with the housekeeper when she went in this morning to dust.
But that's impossible. We both saw the equipment.
Obviously, he had an accomplice. Now, somebody else had to be registered at that hotel to cover up his tracks for him.
That brings us right back to Daggett.
Not necessarily, Nick. This might answer a few questions for us, Jim. It was left at the hotel desk this morning for you while the clerk was off duty.
Yeah, you're right. It certainly does.
Here you are, Jim. I'll have you saddled up in just a minute.
You forget the saddle. Take a look at this.
Where'd this come from?
We don't know. It was left at the hotel this morning.
You still suggest we wait, Jared?
Yes, I do. This picture gives us motive, but not proof.
You know, one time when I was sheriff, a bunch of riffraff tried to frame me for cattle rustling so they could grab this little gold diggings I was working, you know? I didn't have any proof then either until I beat the truth out of one of them.
Jim, you're not a local sheriff anymore. You can't afford that kind of direct action, and you know it.
Well, it's better than sitting around waiting for that trap to close. Look, I kept my mouth shut because you asked me to. But I'm not going to let a thing like this be passed around.
Nick, you so much as go near Daggett, and it's going to give even more validity to that picture. Now, I'm telling you, as a lawyer, if you do anything foolish, the opposition is going to welcome it.
I'm not going to withdraw from this election no matter what. So, Jared, you go ahead and get the proof. I don't care how. And get it fast.
Get over here.
Where you going?
End of town?
This hour? Business or pleasure?
Business, but somehow I think it's going to turn out to be a little pleasure.
Like breaking into Daggett's office, trying to find those pictures?
And the plate that made him.
You know what Jared said about direct action?
Well, now, Heath, you know I'm no politician. That doesn't apply to me.
Well, his office is in the middle of town. That's pretty risky, Nick.
Then stay home.
What makes you think I'm going?
Because you don't trust me.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
I'll saddle up.
Uh-huh.
I don't believe you gentlemen had an appointment. But then, perhaps you Barkleys are in the habit of calling in the middle of the night.
This isn't exactly a call, Judge.
Oh? Well, what then? Oh, yes, apparently you were searching for something. May I ask what?
Quit playing possum, Daggett. You know what we're here for. The pictures of my mother and Jim Bannard.
Pictures?
That's right.
Pictures? You gentlemen amaze me more and more. I'm a jurist, not a photographer. Breaking and entering is a criminal offense. I'm surprised you Barkleys would stoop to it.
We're surprised you'd stoop to blackmail.
That's a serious accusation to make without proof. As a lawyer, I'd advise you against repeating it. Unless you want even more trouble than you have now. The sheriff will be passing on his round soon. You know, I've known your family for years. I'd hate to do anything, shall we say, to embarrass you. So I suggest you leave before he arrives.
Jared, no sense you getting all riled up. You're just trying to help.
Help? Help who? Daggett? You
Certainly didn't help Jim.
Well, at least we did something. We didn't sit around and talk about
Whose
it.
harebrained idea was this anyway? It sounds like one of yours.
No, wait a minute. It
Well,
wasn't
what makes
such a
you
bad
think Daggett is going to be stupid enough to leave those pictures in his office? If he has got them, they're going to be in a safer place than that.
What happened?
Go ahead, Nick. Tell her.
All right, what is it?
Well, Heath and I ransacked Daggett's office tonight.
Ransacked it? Did you get the pictures?
All they got was caught.
Caught?
No, wait a minute. Don't blame Heath. It was all my doing. He only went along with it because he couldn't talk me out of it.
Where is Heath?
Down in the stable, unsaddling the horses.
Nick, you've really done it this time. Not only have you broken the law, but you've handed Daggett a nice present all wrapped up in blue ribbons.
Now, wait
If
a
he
minute.
isn't involved with the pictures, he knows now that we've got something to hide. And if he is involved, he knows that we're scared.
Guess we sure messed up things, didn't
That's putting it mildly. With your kind of help, you've already got him elected.
we? Jared, I admitted we made
Nick, you are the most stubborn, mule-headed...
Wait a minute, that'll be enough of that.
All right, boys, all right. Now, you listen to me. We're a family. Mistakes or not, we stand together. Now, I suggest we all go to bed, get a good night's rest, and discuss this in the morning when we're calmer.
You're right. I'm sorry, Nick. I guess I got a little carried away.
Well, I guess we both did.
Let's turn in.
Good night, Mother. Jim. Night.
Night.
Sure. Victoria, the last thing in the world I want to do is cause any bitterness between your sons. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like old times, isn't it, huh? Hmm? You and me riding out together. Come on. Come on, boy. Come on.
Jim!
Well, now, where in blazes is he going?
Probably going for a ride.
This early in the morning?
Sure, best time of day to go.
Maybe we best follow him.
Nick, I think we better mind our own business for a change.
Yeah, well. All right.
Well, this is an incriminating picture. I don't wonder that you and the Barkleys are concerned about it.
You deny seeing this picture before?
Are you insinuating that I have?
It was pretty obvious from the message on it that the opposition party's behind this. And you are the opposition, Daggett, whether you're willing to admit it or not.
Bennett, you seem to be making a pretty serious accusation. I hope you're prepared to prove it.
I'm prepared to back it up with action.
Ah, action. My dear Senator, without proof, that will be as indiscreet as being photographed in your hotel room with Victoria.
Who said it was my hotel?
Well, isn't that the obvious place? I simply assume that you and,
Is it obvious? Well, Victoria had a room in the hotel, too. How do you know it wasn't in her room?
Your room, her room, what difference does it make? The point is, you've finally slipped up. You've finally been caught in something that'll show the voters what an unprincipled man you are.
You're a liar and a blackmailer, Daggett. I might not be able to prove it, but one thing, I'm not going to stand still for a smear campaign. If you're going to try and discredit me, you're going to have to do it not only in public, but at gunpoint. Do you understand me, Daggett? At gunpoint.
Violence. You think that's the answer to everything, don't you, Bennett? Violence. Well, I'll tell you something. It isn't going to work this time. You're not going to force me into a gun duel with you, no matter what you do.
I'll be waiting for you tomorrow morning at the south edge of town, Daggett. And if you're not there, I'm going to come and get you.
You do, you'll meet the sheriff.
Sheriff won't be able to keep me away from you forever. Tomorrow morning. I want to remember, the only man who's going to withdraw from this election will be the dead man.
Well, finally. I was beginning to think you weren't coming, Gil.
I wouldn't have if your message hadn't said it was so important. It's risky meeting this close to town.
I didn't have any choice. I want some more prints of that picture right away.
I told you to let me make more than just 2 copies.
I didn't think I was going to have to use them. But Bannard refuses to withdraw. Here's the plate. I want enough prints for every newspaper in the state.
All right. But you'll have to pick them up. I'm not coming out here from Oxville again. With a man like Bannard involved, it's just too dangerous.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'm driving to Sacramento in the morning. I'll pick them up at your shop on my way.
Oh? Our original deal was for $200?
That's right.
This will cost you a little extra.
What are you talking about? Our deal included as many prints as I wanted, and you know it.
It didn't include 2 trips.
All right, I'll give you another $50.
150 sounds more like it.
150?
Bannard would probably be willing to pay even more.
All right. You just better make those prints legible. Or you don't get a cent.
Your clerk said you'd be back in a few minutes, so I decided to wait.
I presume you came for the same reason Bannard did.
Jim was here?
Oh, yes. A couple of hours ago. He showed me that rather, shall we say, interesting picture of the 2 of you.
I didn't know he was planning to discuss this with you.
We discussed nothing. He insulted and threatened me.
That picture is a fraud, Will. I came here to ask you to put a stop to it.
Indeed. And what makes you think I could?
Well, it may not be your doing, but obviously someone in your party is behind it. And with your influence, you could certainly put a stop to it.
Last night, your sons ransacked my office, accused me of arranging for the picture. Now you come in and ask me for my help.
What Nick and Heath did was wrong, but they were trying to end a vicious smear, and so should you. No matter what you think about Jim, I can't believe that you would condone such dishonest tactics to defeat him.
Jim Bannard is an impractical man with plans that will ruin this whole state. He's also a violent, unprincipled killer. He proved that today when he threatened my life. I feel that anything which defeats him is a service to the people.
Then you're willing to allow this fraud to go through?
Fraud? I wasn't in that hotel room, Victoria. Only you and Bannard were. You'll regret that, Victoria. Believe me.
I doubt it.
Victoria? You can tell your Senator Bannard I won't be at the edge of town tomorrow morning. I'll be driving to Sacramento. By the time I arrive, I'll expect word of his withdrawal from this campaign.
I knew we disagreed on politics, Will, but not on principle. Obviously, I was wrong. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Victoria.
Breakfast will be ready. What are you doing?
You said Daggett was driving to Sacramento this morning. I'm going after him.
Those?
Mm-hmm. That message he sent was a threat, Victoria. It was carefully disguised, yes, I'll admit, but nevertheless a threat.
So are those pistols.
At least they're honest.
Daggett is not going to fight a duel with you. He told you that yesterday.
And I'll just have to make him change his mind.
want, Bennett?
Victoria gave me your message, Daggett. I'm here to give you one last chance to settle this thing honorably.
Honorably? Well, I couldn't outdraw you, and you know it.
All right? We'll even the odds. I'll give you first shot with a dueling pistol.
You're even more of a fool than I thought you were. I don't deal in guns. Get out of my way, Bernard.
Very well. You leave me no choice. But first, I'm going to have to relieve you of those pictures.
You'll relieve me of nothing.
He's dead, Jim.
Gotta find those pictures. Nothing. He must be in his valise. Got to be in here. One. There's got to be more than one. It just doesn't make sense.
Maybe the sheriff will find more.
What are you talking about?
A man is dead, Jim. We have to report it.
You know what that could mean, huh? But they'll accuse me of murder.
But it was an accident. I saw it.
You saw it. You, the compromised woman. The woman who was photographed in my hotel bedroom in the middle of the night. Don't you realize what the prosecution can do with that?
But the picture is a fraud. All we have to do is find the photographer.
The photographer has gone.
Victoria, don't you?
Will you please just listen to me? But you see, without a witness, your testimony means absolutely nothing. Huh? Why, they just tear you to pieces. They say you were lying to protect your lover. They might even accuse you of being an accomplice. No, the best thing for us to do is just walk away.
Walk away?
Sure. There's nothing here to connect us with Daggett. No pictures, no nothing. They'll find the body. They'll assume it was a robbery, and nobody will ever know any different.
We'll know it, Jim.
Victoria. If it was only my life that's at stake, or my political career, I wouldn't ask you to do this. But there's no point in reporting this now to the sheriff. Daggett's dead. We can do nothing for him. But if I have to go through a murder trial, even though I won't be convicted, but the excitement, the tension, it could very well kill Amelia.
I'm sorry, Jim. I can't withhold evidence. even for Amelia.
Well, what are you doing? I won't let you do it. You understand? You can't. I won't. You think...
George. Oh.
Forgive me. Please, I just lost control. Do what you have to do.
Anybody here?
With you in a minute. Good evening, ma'am. What can I do for you?
Now, don't pretend you don't know me. We met the night you delivered that note.
Note? I don't understand. There must be some mistake.
There's no mistake, and you know it.
How'd you find me?
Judge Daggett is dead. This picture was found in his valise.
Daggett is dead?
It was an accident.
What kind of accident? Was Bannard involved?
Yes. But it didn't happen the way you think. I saw it. Now, I need your help. Unless I can prove that this picture is a fraud, my testimony won't mean a thing.
Oh, no. I'm not getting mixed up in any murder. I've got enough trouble.
You're indirectly responsible for this tragedy. One man is dead and another's life is at stake. Doesn't that mean anything to you?
Not when it's him or me. You know, just being part of a blackmail plan is a jail offense. And it wouldn't be my first one.
All right. If you won't testify willingly, I'll have you subpoenaed.
I'm getting out of here just as fast as I can.
You won't get very far. Once I report this, every sheriff in this state will be after you.
Oh. Well, we can't have that, can we? Not for a while. Not for quite a while.
Jared would get back. I'm as spooky as a cow pony with a burr under his blanket. Can't even write a letter to Amelia.
Would you like me to write to her?
No. Oh, thank you, Victoria. The words will come. Maybe I'd be better off to wait until we hear what Gil had to say. Victoria, suppose he won't admit that the picture was a fraud. You know, he can say that Daggett hired him just to get a picture, proof that we were lovers. We won't be any better off than we were before.
But Jared has the note Gil wrote the night he took the picture. He can't deny his own handwriting.
Well, in his boots, he'd be smart to deny everything and stick to it.
Jared's handled tougher cases than this. He'll break them down.
I hope so.
You could pour me one of those, Jim.
Jared, I thought you'd never get back.
I'm sorry it took so long, but that photographer was a little tougher to crack than I thought.
But did he confess?
All of it.
Oh, Jim.
Thank you, Jared. Thanks.
It was my pleasure. Of course, there'll be an inquest, maybe even a trial. But with Gil's testimony and Mother as an eyewitness, you haven't got a thing in this world to worry about.
Well, Jim, it looks like your chances for re-election are better than ever.
Provided, of course, that the voters are willing to accept the testimony on its face value.
Well, of course they'll accept it. They like you. And what was it you said that night at dinner? That you wanted to be part of the dust and the dream.
Jim, I think these voters want that dust irrigated. And they figure you're the only man who can do it.
I hope you're right, Jared. I sincerely want to be a part of this state's destiny.
You will, Jim. You will.
I'll drink to that.